Stealth dyslexia is a term that we coined that deals with the situation of a student who is generally average or above average in reading comprehension, and so is rarely identified as being dyslexic. Yet nevertheless, when you look at them, there's a large discrepancy between their verbal ability, so between their verbal IQ and their ability either to comprehend or more commonly to decode at the single word level. So when we see a student who has a verbal IQ of 130, a reading comprehension of maybe 110 on the Wyatt or the Woodcock-Johnson, and a single word decoding ability score of 80, then that kind of discrepant pattern is a clear indication of dyslexic processing. And if you look very carefully at those students, you find that they show the very same kinds of physiological differences in brain function, or cognitive differences in brain function, that classic dyslexic students do, even though their comprehension scores are relatively good. And the ways that those students can usually be identified as dyslexic, again, are the discrepancy between their verbal ability and their reading achievement, but also especially in areas like oral reading, where they typically have trouble, and in single word decoding or spelling. Oftentimes, these students present to clinics like ours not for problems associated with reading, especially in the middle years of school, but instead for problems with writing or underperformance. So they'll show other patterns of cognition and other academic challenges that are commonly associated with dyslexia rather than reading comprehension abilities. The problem for these students with reading is if their reading issues are not addressed, they often will sail through junior high school and high school doing okay, and then they'll get to college, and suddenly this huge reading load and this exposure to a lot of words that they've never seen before will finally catch up with them, and they'll start having reading problems first identified at that level. So it's very important for students with this pattern to catch those differences early so that, number one, you can start to remediate those challenges, but also so that they can become skilled in using different kinds of technological accommodations, so books on tape, Kurzweil readers, and other types of accommodations.